Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This Krishna consciousness movement is being spread all over the world, and Indian people often express pleasure that this culture is now being practiced in countries all over the world, so that we now will find in America, Europe, China, Russia, Japan, so many places, that people are chanting the names of Krishna. They're wearing dhotis and saris, playing mridanga and similar Indian musical instruments, and taking Indian style food. Of course, the essence of Krishna consciousness is not attained simply by wearing a dhoti or a sari, but it is a matter of pride and pleasure for those Indian people who respect their own culture, that this culture is now spread worldwide. Of course, when we say Indian culture, it's a very broad term, and more particularly could be said this is the Bengali Vaishnava culture. And sometimes people in South India find it a little unusual. People outside of India find it very unusual. And although people in Tamil Nadu are used to Vaishnav Dharma, they're not used to it exactly in the way that the members of ISKCON practice it. They're not used to white-skinned people chanting the names of God. And this jumping up and down in the temple seems very unusual to them. This exuberant method of worship doesn't seem quite right to many people in South India. The feeling is, in the temple we should be very grave. And Bengali songs that we sing, well, that also people can't understand. We might consider that, well, in the Western countries, if people can accept all this, then why not here also? Actually, this is not Bengali culture. This is the culture of the spiritual world. Of course, the mode of worship prevalent here is also the culture of the spiritual world. The spiritual world is Vaikuntha. So any temple of Vishnu in which the worship is being conducted very purely with great bhakti, that is a replica of Vaikuntha. So we find, just like Sri Rangam, the Ranganath temple, that's sometimes considered Bhu Vaikuntha, or Vaikuntha on earth. So again the question may come, well, if that's we already know what Vaikuntha culture is, then why this Bengali style culture? But again, this is not exactly Bengali culture. In the spiritual world, there is Golokadham. That Golokadham is where Krishna lives. There are different areas within the spiritual world. In Vaikuntha, Bhagavan Narayana presides with Lakshmi. Everything is very pleasant there, with spiritual opulence, and very happily Bhagavan Narayan lives, being served by Lakshmi and all the Vaikuntha Vasis. And everyone is fully satisfied. Bhagavan Narayan is fully satisfied. His eternal wife, Lakshmi Devi, is fully satisfied in his service. And all the Vaikuntha Vasis are very satisfied to serve Lakshmi Narayana. There are other areas of the spiritual world, and the topmost is Golokadham, Golok Vrindavan. When we say it's the topmost, that doesn't mean that there's anything lacking in Vaikuntha. The abode of Lakshmi Narayana, the Vaikuntha planets, is perfect in every respect. But the abode of Krishna is perfect, concentrated perfection, more concentrated perfection. Because in Vrindavan, the bliss of serving Krishna is even more intense. There, the mood of reverence towards Bhagavan is not prominent. But in Vrindavan, the devotees, they see Krishna, or the same Krishna who is Narayana, they see him as a young boy, and they play with him, dance with him, sing with him, just as very intimate friends. And his mother Yashoda feeds him as if he, Krishna, were dependent on him. So, although everyone in Vaikuntha, they're fully satisfied to serve Bhagavan Narayana, understanding him as Bhagavan. Yeah, take the children to the back. But in Vrindavan, Golok Vrindavan, that's the topmost area of the spiritual world, the residents, the Vrindavan Vasis, they do not think of Krishna as Bhagavan, but they intensely love him as their friend, as their son. And the Gopikas of Vrindavan see him as the object of their love, which is never to be equated with the male-female relationship of this material world. So this culture of intense, ecstatic love for Krishna was brought from the spiritual world to this material world by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishna himself appears in Vrindavan in this world, which is that's called Gokul Vrindavan, which is non-different from Golok Vrindavan of the spiritual world. So Krishna enjoys his Leela in Vrindavan. He shows that to attract the conditioned souls to come and join him. He is Madhava, the husband of Lakshmi, and with Radha he sports in the forest groves of Vrindavan. He is the very dearest lover of all the gopis, and he performs many amazing pastimes, such as lifting the Govardhan hill. He gives unlimited bliss and delight to Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, and all the elderly residents of Vrindavan, and to all the residents of Vrindavan. In Vrindavan, we don't find Krishna like Narayan sitting on a throne very grandly, but he's running on the banks of the Yamuna, sporting with his friends, playing hide and seek. Do you know this hide and seek? Yeah. He hides behind a tree, and then all the boys, they feel as if they're going to die because they cannot see him. So they run very anxiously to find him. Then when they find him, they think their life has come back again. So this unlimited bliss of intimate association with Krishna is brought by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He makes that easily available to everyone by the chanting of the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This Maha Mantra is the essence of all spiritual bliss, because the name of Krishna is Krishna, and Krishna is Satchidananda Vigraha. He is eternity, bliss, knowledge, the very person of that. So Krishna and Narayana, they are the same person, but in different forms and different moods. And to acquaint all the people of the world with the topmost bliss of Krishna Bhakti in Vrindavan, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears. So we are preaching this culture of Gauriya Vaishnavism, or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's contribution here in South India. And with great respect and appreciation for the Vaishnavas here, we would like to offer that there is something even better than the very respectful worship that they offer to Bhagavan Narayana. The bliss that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has introduced by the chanting of the holy names of Krishna, which surpasses even the reverence of Vaikuntha. So this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's contribution. It's not that he invented it. Krishna is eternal and devotion to Krishna is eternal. Golokera prema dhan harinama sankirtan. The wealth or the treasure of Golok is expressed as harinama sankirtan. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he traveled here in South India, and he introduced people to this very sweet and joyful process of chanting the names of Krishna. Of course, people were already accustomed to chant names of Krishna, but more in the form of stotras, in a formal manner. Formal, the Sanskritam is opacharik, means but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's process is simply joyful. This temple is to be established here. We wish to invite here Radha Gokulananda. So Gokul, Golok, they are the same. Here in this world, Gokul is better known. Gokul, which is manifested in the material world, is the same as Golok in the spiritual world. That means Vrindavan, the place of Krishna and Krishna's Leela. So Gokul is also known here in South India. It's still quite a common name here in Tamil Nadu. Gokul Raja seems to be quite fairly common. Huh? Gokula Krishna, names like this, yeah. Maybe Gokulananda is not so well known. Can become well known. Of course, the inspiration behind this project to bring Radha Gokulananda here is Gokulacandra Das. So he asked me what name we could invite Krishna in, which name for the deities yet to manifest. So I suggested Radha Gokulananda. And then he said, well, then maybe people will think that I'm just naming them after me. It's round the wrong way. So I'm explaining, in case anyone think like that actually when I, by the grace of Srila Prabhupada, in England, some 35 years ago, I happened to fall in the door of the temple of the Hare Krishna movement in England, and fortunately I am still connected with that movement. So the extraordinarily beautiful and merciful deities there were Radha Gokulananda, were and still are. It's really amazing when you come from all the grossness and ignorance and depravity of London and its environments And then you walk into the temple of Radha Gokulananda and says, it's not a heaven and hell difference, it's more. It's a difference between Gokul and hell. Srila Prabhupada certified that London is hell. Once after a Bhagavad Gita class in London, one of his disciples, Krishna Vesha Devidasi, asked Srila Prabhupada a rather unusual question. She asked, Srila Prabhupada, is Bhagavad Gita spoken in hell? Srila Prabhupada replied, well, I am here, I am preaching Bhagavad Gita here. He considered London to be hell. Once on a TV program in London, the interviewer asked Srila Prabhupada, well, Swamiji, what do you think of London? So he was probably expecting that someone coming from such an ignorant and, in his estimation, such an ignorant and backward country as India to such a glorious place of London, as London would have nothing but the highest regard for it. Srila Prabhupada said, it's just like hell. It's always cold and dark and raining. And seeing the interviewer looking quite sad, Srila Prabhupada said, but it is your great credit that you have established such a big civilization in this horrible place. So, it's really a contrast when one comes from the hellish streets of London to the temple of Krishna, who is beyond even heaven, far greater than heaven, is to have the darshan of Radha Gokulananda. And in the Western countries, especially where the modes of material nature are so intense, the atmosphere of materialism is so intense, one can really understand what it means to be sheltered by Krishna. I remember so many years ago, I was out in the streets of London distributing Srila Prabhupada's books, and I was finding it was a very tough day, and the pressure of the unwillingness of people to accept Krishna was just like pressing on me, and feeling just like as if I was suffering in hell. So when I came back to the temple and had darshan, actually in central London, there's Radha London Ishvara, Srila Prabhupada called the deities. He named the deities Radha London Ishvara. In London they think they're the Ishvaras of the British Empire. Srila Prabhupada established, here is the real Ishvara of London and everyone else, Krishna. So I remember one particular day coming back and having darshan of Radha London Ishvara and feeling just what a shelter, what a relief to be here rather than with so many, in the midst of so many materialistic people. So Srila Prabhupada established 2 temples in London, one just outside, one of Radha Landanishwar and one of Radha Gokulananda. So it may seem like that I suggested that name, and it may seem coincidental that the name of the deity is almost the same name as that of the devotee who has piloted this project. But all the devotees are Krishna Das, all the devotees are Gokulananda Das. Whatever the name of an initiated devotee is, he's Krishna Das. Srila Prabhupada said this, that in the initiated name the most important part is Das. That's the most important part for us to remember. That's our identity. We may call a devotee Gokulacandra or Vasudev Datta or whatever, but the real identity is Das. But still that Gokulananda is to be served by all devotees, but at least here Radha Gokulananda is to be served by all the devotees under the guidance of Gokulacandra Das, because Krishna is everywhere and anyone can sit anywhere and chant the names of Krishna. But sometimes a devotee, he makes an arrangement by which people become inspired to serve Krishna. And he makes arrangements and provides facilities for people to engage in the service of Krishna. So that's why devotees establish temples, so that everyone can have an opportunity to serve Krishna in various ways. There are many ways to serve Krishna, and a temple with various facilities requires a lot of service by many devotees. So this temple, as any other temple of Krishna, is meant for the glorious activity of serving Krishna. Of course, it's still in the process of manifestation. The psychological process begins with thinking about it and then trying to enact that. It's in English the word dream. It means literally a dream that you have at night, but it also means maybe it's the same in Tamil. It also means that you think of something that could happen, you imagine how it could happen, like that. Mahavishnu dreams and the whole material world is manifest. He's Bhagavan. He has big dreams. Srila Prabhupada had a dream that people all over the world would take up the chanting of Hare Krishna. Dream means he had a vision, a desire, so he didn't just think about it, but he worked hard to make that dream become a reality. So just like within Mahavishnu's dream, there are many jivas who have various dreams. So Srila Prabhupada had a pure desire, a pure dream to manifest within the material world Krishna consciousness. That is part of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's dream, and Srila Prabhupada made that a concrete reality. Srila Prabhupada had a very big dream. And within Srila Prabhupada's dream, his followers also have various dreams. And thus various devotees manifest service to Krishna in various places and in various ways. So, for the service of Radha Gokulananda, Gokulacandra Das had a dream that here in Salem there should be expanded service to Gokulananda. Das means servant. There are different kinds of service can be performed in various ways. Generally, service in Indian English means employment. But service to Krishna, actual service, means with no expectation of personal reward. But Krishna does reward the devotee, not with money, but with the bliss that comes from serving Krishna. Dasa kari betan more deho premadhan. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu prays that you make me your servant, Krishna, and give me the wages of Krishna prema. Give me the payment of Krishna prema. This he wants. So a devotee who has a strong serving propensity, they want to increase that more and more. So they want to see more and more people engaged in Krishna's service. So just as Mahavishnu's dream expands the whole material world, so within that material world, Srila Prabhupada expanded Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's dream of Krishna consciousness being spread all over the world. And within Srila Prabhupada's mission, many devotees, they find, yes, Krishna can be served in this way. And they pursue their dream to serve Krishna in a particular way. So in this way, the dream within a dream within a dream. But when we dream of Krishna, that's reality. So by pursuing the dream to serve Krishna, we wake up from the nightmare of material life. Srila Prabhupada said that he described what death is like for a devotee. He said, you go to sleep and when you wake up, you're with Krishna. That's all. Because for a devotee, he's always with Krishna. Radha Krishna pranamo jugale kisho jibane morane gati arnahimo. For a devotee whose life is Radha and Krishna, then life and death, there's no difference, because he's always with Krishna. So during his life, a devotee serves Krishna and is absorbed in Krishna. And death means he simply transfers to another situation to serve Krishna. So a devotee's dream is reality, the reality of serving Krishna. A devotee is always thinking how to serve Krishna more and more and more. So one who has big dreams to serve Krishna can bring more and more people to come and serve Krishna. A devotee can sit in one place and chant Hare Krishna. But if he has a big dream that everyone else should serve Krishna, then he may arrange or struggle to establish some facility by which more and more people can come and serve Krishna. So now we're dreaming of Radha Gokulananda. We're dreaming for the opportunity to serve Radha Gokulananda. How many ways they are to be served. How Gokul can be manifested, the spiritual world manifested in this material world. So that everyone can taste the bliss of the spiritual world. The bliss of feeding Krishna, the bliss of dressing Krishna, the bliss of dancing for Krishna, the bliss of bringing others to Krishna. This is Gokulananda, the bliss of the spiritual world. This is not any mundane Bengali culture. So we invite the local people to understand Bhagavad Gita as it is, that we are not the body, we are not Tamils. We are all eternal servants of Krishna. And we can serve him with great awe and reverence in the temple, folding our hands together. Or we can raise our hands and dance in kirtan. This opportunity is being presented here. So, Hare Krishna. We'll finish the lecture here. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jai Radha Gokulananda.